Hello everybody and welcome to my web class, The 7 Secrets to Building a Profitable Marketing Strategy in 2023, even if you've never marketed before. My name is Joe Pellegrino Jr. I am the founder and chief strategist over here at J. Michael Strategies, and I'll be hosting your web class today. Before we jump in, I want to remind you this is going to be in the neighborhood of about 30 minutes. Promise to make it worth your while. I know you have a limited number of minutes to spend in a day, and I'm grateful that you're about to spend 30 with me. I want to let you know that if you stay until the end of the web class, all 30 minutes, at the end, I'm going to give you instructions on how to claim your free copy of Alex Hormozi's book, $100 Million Offers. This book has completely changed the trajectory of my business and the way that I view things. And I provide it to every single one of my clients. Even though you're not a client yet, I want to give you that opportunity. You just have to stay to the end, and I'll give you instructions on how to go ahead and claim that. So one of the cool things about what I do and on this web class is I'm talking to a broad spectrum of business owners. I've got everything from mature business owners who've been around for a really, really long time and have found themselves hemorrhaging marketing dollars over the years. I've also found myself in front of brand new concepts. Companies that haven't even started yet or maybe looking to launch for 2023. And then you've got your young businesses that have a handful of years under their belt that just want to do the right thing. They just want to invest the right dollars and expect the proper return. And it's so cool to me that I have this sort of range and that this material applies to everyone, because these 7 secrets that I'm going to talk through, they're just as effective for the seasoned business owner as they are for the novice. In fact, I would say in many cases they are more effective for the mature business owner, because these simple principles, you sort of have to unlearn all the things that all the conventional wisdom that you've dealt with over the years and found yourself. You sort of have to ask yourself, all right, I'm this far into my business, and yes, things are going well, but I've been marketing for years and years and years, and never seems to get better. And so a lot of times when that happens, it's kind of going back to the simplest steps. And then for the new guys, this is simple. These are simple secrets that will, they go against the conventional wisdom. Look, I believe that the marketing industry is completely broken. I think that it's just an absolute mayhem right now. When you look at kind of what's out there, I see it as a spectrum, right? You've got on one end, you've got these flashy agencies that they just want to sell you their piece of the pie. They're not really worried about your results necessarily. They're only worried about your results as it pertains to their to retaining them, right? And making sure that they keep on with your business, but they don't care about your business. They just want to sell you their flash bang. They want to wow you. They want to make you feel good. They want to make you feel like things are happening. But at the end of the day, are things happening, right? At the end of the day, what they're perhaps serving you in is that the complete picture of things, and that's really where we see a lot of money spent to no avail. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you've got sort of the DIY side. A lot of marketing tools, in fact, virtually all of them, are available to you right now, right? You could right now jump on Facebook ads and spend a whole lot of money and, piss that money away. But because DIY is so available, DIY marketing is so available, business owners like you end up getting deep into it before they realize, crap, I should have dealt with the experts. But then also you've got all these freelancers that, they say, oh, I can take care of this, I can take care of that, because they have the same access to those tools that you do, right? And so anybody can say, yeah, I can take care of that. And then you end up in a situation where you've got a freelancer that is hopefully well-intentioned, but usually fairly incompetent, and is not able to provide for you what it is that you were looking for in the first place. Look, I'm here because I'm just trying to make marketing make sense again. I think it's lost its way, and I need to see it starting to make sense again. And that all starts with making marketing honest again, and that's why we're here today. So what's a little interesting about me is that I've been on both sides of the table. I've owned and managed businesses that have spent a whole lot of money on marketing with meager return. I've even been one of those well-intentioned and incompetent freelancers, to be honest with you. I grew up in the marketing industry. My father owned a newspaper for many, many years. In high school, I was actually designing graphic ads for that newspaper. And I really found my place in that sort of layout and web design segment of marketing. And those were always my foundational skills. So even when I managed restaurant franchises, those skills came into play. When I owned a turf company, those skills came into play. I was always able to make things look really, really pretty. And I really thought that that was it, right? You just got to make it pretty. Websites, Facebook posts, collateral, all beautiful, genuinely really nice stuff. But as I started getting into owning my own businesses and using my skill there, I really got to see, okay, where the return comes, right? I kind of got to see like, all right, well, if I do this, what's the return? And I wasn't seeing any return, right? I had a beautiful site, but no conversions. I had a beautiful, beautiful Facebook page for our company. It looked amazing, but I had literally no engagement. We had like 4 likes on all the posts, and 2 of them were from my mom and my aunt. So that's no good, right? So at that point, I kind of figured, man, maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was at marketing. And so I did what I thought you were supposed to do, right? I started bringing on marketing specialists. I thought, that's what you're supposed to do, right? You can't make money if you don't spend money. And if I'm not up to snuff, then I need to bring in the people that are. Well, long story short, and over $17,000 later, I got a whole lot of pretty stuff from the agencies and freelancers that I hired, but I still had a negative return. See, I thought the problem was that things just didn't look good enough, that I wasn't able to make them look quite good enough, and that's why things weren't working. And I thought if I brought agencies in to make them look good enough, that would be it. And that might be what you're thinking here today. You might be thinking, oh man, I just need my stuff I just need a good looking website, or I just need a good looking this or that, right? But it wasn't until about several years ago that I realized that that's not the case. It's not about how good you can make it look. It's about what are the results that you can produce from it, right? What is the shortest pathway between where you are now and the results that you're looking for? And this concept of results-oriented marketing crossed my path just a couple of years back. It's a crazy concept that your marketing should be tied to some kind of a result. Crazy, right? I mean, just insane. But seriously, I've now devoted my entire professional career to serving business owners like yourself to achieve that very thing, right? Those results that you deserve, that are the return on the investment that you've made into your marketing. I want to keep you from falling into the trap of this broken industry, and that's what we're here for today. So looking to 2023, a lot of big questions, right? Is the economy going to tank the way that it's looking like it might? And then if it does, what does that mean for our business? Well, it means a few things. Now more than ever, we need to be careful with the dollars going out and ensure there's a clear return on any investment that we make, whether that be in human resources, operational materials, or marketing. Marketing is famous for being a dollar sucker. I would imagine that you've probably had some experience with either had a negative experience with marketing or a lackluster experience where you put money in, you put effort in, you just didn't quite get what you were looking for, or you spent a lot of money and made literally nothing back. I would be willing to bet that you've had that experience. So I believe that it's because we look at marketing the wrong way as business owners. We look at it as like this gargantuan entity, almost like this troll that we have to pay a toll to, right? But here's the thing, guys. That's not the way forward for the new year. Not if I can help it. Not if this conversation can help it, right? And so what I want to do now is I want to dive into my 7 very practical secrets, not so secrets, to ensure that you're building a profitable marketing strategy in the new year that's actually going to generate you revenue. Are you ready? Okay, let's jump in. Okay, secret number 1, to build a profitable marketing strategy for 2023, you have to start looking at it as revenue generation rather than marketing. Like I said, a lot of marketing feels like we're just trying to pay the toll troll. We don't know what we're gonna get out of it, but bottoms up, right? But why do we market in the first place? What's the reason that we market? We don't just market because we have to market, or do you? If that's what you're doing, that's no good. But at the end of the day, we market to make money. If the dollars we're spending on marketing aren't tied to clear and trackable results, even if your business is successful, you're losing. You're not marketing efficiently, and eventually it's going to bite you. And I think for a lot of seasoned business owners, there's this feeling of, all right, well, marketing dollars are going out, but we're doing okay. We're profitable as a company generally. I'm not really sure what things are attributed to. But at the end of the day, that will bite you in the butt. And at that point, you're really just marketing for the sake of marketing. Do you even need to be marketing? Honestly, do you know the answer to that question? you have to look at these things, right? You have to look at where those dollars are going out and what you're getting in return. We had a client years ago. They were a counseling clinic, like mental health therapy. And they came to us for strategy, and they came to us and they basically said, hey, we're about to drop, they came to us and they said, all right, we're about to drop $64,000 on this annual contract with this shiny Miami agency. They were so excited about it. They didn't come to us saying like, oh man, we got to spend They're like, oh, we're about to spend $64,000 on this shiny Miami agency. And, my ears, of course, perked up, and I asked them to see, can I see the contract? Can I see what the scope is? What are you getting for that $64,000? And as I'm looking through this, I'm shocked by it, that they're this excited about it, because they're getting nothing of real value. They're getting a lot of things that might make them feel good. They're getting a lot of things like, 150 videos with their logo on it. 150 videos with your logo on it. Well, I could do that in 5 minutes for you. Literally, you go on Fiverr for $5 or stuff like that. But it was things like that. It was all the things that made them feel like it was something, but it really wasn't anything. But besides that, what was super interesting was that before we had that conversation about hiring the agency, we had talked to them about the fact that they actually couldn't bring on any more clients because they were tapped out in terms of their therapists. They were at capacity. They didn't have enough therapists to deal with the demand that they already had. And so we had talked about, okay, well, rather than marketing, you need to focus your efforts on bringing in new rock star therapists. So not only did they not need to spend any money on marketing from that perspective, they were also about to be taken out to the woodshed by this shiny Miami agency. But it just goes to show, it's that feeling of yes, we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. We're spending a whole lot of money on marketing because that's what you do. Not good, man, not good. And I'd be willing to bet that this is a lot of you, especially if your business is powered by leads. It's so easy to lose track and figure, all right, well, as long as there's enough leads or sales coming through, I'm happy. But you're not really worried about what that's attributed to. So here's what you can do about this. What I want you to do, if you're a business owner that has already gone through the entirety of 2022 in business, I want you to look back at your P&L. And I want you to look back at what you spent on marketing, and I want you to tell me if you can attribute a specific dollar amount to that marketing spend. So if you spent $50,000 in marketing in 2022, what revenue can you attribute directly to that? Now, I don't want you to look at this from a wholesale perspective. I want you to look at this as literally those marketing campaigns. What did they generate specifically? And if you can't answer that question, which, to be honest with you, no disrespect, I'm not sure you can, we need to have a conversation, because now you're just marketing for the sake of marketing. If you can't track those, if you don't have those results tracking, if you can't attribute directly, it's going to be a bloodbath for you coming up soon. I can promise you that. Now, if you are a new business or you're starting up fresh in 2023, what I can tell you is before you spend $1 on marketing, make sure you have a way to track that marketing. Make sure you have a way to see what actually comes through. So if you spend $5, what does that get you in return? You need to know that specifically. And again, not from like a writ large perspective, but literally this $5 that was spent on this campaign, what did this campaign yield? That's what we need to know. Okay, secret number 2, to build a profitable marketing strategy in 2023, you have to know what your destination is. You have to know what it is that you're heading for. So call it a goal, call it a KPI, however you want to look at it. Unless you're Coca-Cola and you're doing these massive brand awareness campaigns, you can't just cast a wide net and hope for the best. You need to determine a destination. Otherwise, it's always going to be a continuous cycle of spending money, getting annoyed at the lack of results, pausing spending, realizing that maybe I do need to do marketing after all, and then continue it all over again. That's how marketing owns you rather than the other way around. Well, like I said, we market to drive revenue and make money, don't we? What is the money we're trying to make? What is the dollar amount that you're trying to accomplish through this marketing campaign? A lot of people will say, I want to do as well as I can. I want to get as much as I can out of it. Yeah, we all do, right? But at the end of the day, not having a clear destination means that you're always going to be either moving the goalposts or you're just never going to get where you ultimately want to be. So by attributing a specific timely goal, a specific dollar amount, and how long it is you want to reach that goal, that's what's actually going to give you. That's what's actually going to get you success, right? So if you set a specific dollar amount and you say, okay, by March 31st, I want to do an additional $10,000 in sales, something like that. We'll just use round numbers. If you don't reach that, well, then you know, okay, well, this is what I did. This is where I got to. This is how far I fell short of the goal. The goal is still $10,000, even if you only bring in 5, right? And so the next go around, you either know, okay, well, I can't do those things, or, oh, you know what, these things were working, I just need to give it more time. Either way, you need to have that specific number in mind, because if it's just hope for the best and just a guessing game of how much it is that you actually want to bring in, you're never going to actually be happy. You're always going to feel one way or the other, and that's really not what we want. For some, it might be a monthly goal, like a monthly recurring goal. So let's say 10 grand a month. For others, it might be an annual goal. They want to double their revenue. They want to do, they did $500,000 in 2022. They want to do $1 million in 2023. Okay, fantastic. We have a number to work with, right? Then what you can do is you can reverse engineer backwards to determine what it is that is needed to actually move the ball down the field to that goal, right? So either way, the important thing is set the goal. And then let's move right on to secret number 3, because it's tied directly to it. To build a profitable marketing strategy in 2023, you have to set a budget that is tied to that destination. Now, I know this all seems really, really obvious, but I guarantee you're not doing this. I guarantee you're not doing this. And that's why we're here. So once we have that goal, we have to be realistic about how it is that we're going to reach it. How are we going to get to that destination? At the end of the day, understanding your budget is going to play a huge role, because if you came to me and you said, oh, I want to do an additional $500,000 next year. And I said, okay, fantastic. What's your budget for that? And you say, $1,500 a month. That seems like something that's not really going to work, because what you're basically saying to me is you want to spend in the neighborhood of 20 grand a year for a $500,000 result. That's not quite there for me. It's not impossible, but I would probably encourage you to either increase your budget or lower your expectations on the goal from that perspective. Whether you're cash flush or cash poor, you have to be a wise steward of the dollars that you're spending on marketing, right? And so, are you doing things with all the bells and whistles, or are you really just kind of doing things from a totally minimally viable perspective? Are you doing things as simple as you can and sort of almost like bootstrapping and sort of growing from there? Or are you kind of going to bat with the big stuff right from the beginning? Now, we're going to get into this in a second, but I always recommend MVP style. But at the end of the day, we got to know what kind of budget we're working with. But what usually happens is most businesses will set a specific marketing budget aside that is a percentage of their revenue, right? And then it's just Jesus take the wheel, right? So, a lot of businesses, 5 to 10% is a number. This is more for professional services, things like that. More retail or e-com oriented businesses can be anywhere from 20 to 50%. But the problem is, if you look at your marketing budget from a margin perspective, you're going to end up spending a lot more than you need to spend in some cases, or you're not going to be spending quite enough based on the goals that you're trying to reach. My question always is, do you actually need to be spending that money? So going back to secret number 1, are you spending your 10% because the troll is asking for his 10% toll? Or are you spending that 10% because you know what it is that you're trying, you know what the yield is that you're looking to get to from it? So what makes sense for a budget based on your actual goal? So if your goal is to increase revenue by $10,000 a month on a $1,000 product, and it costs you historically roughly $125 to acquire that customer on average, well, that's 10 customers at a $125 cost per acquisition. So your budget should be at least $1,250 a month, right? That's kind of simple math. But the idea is backing into what your budget is based on that original goal. Now, don't be cheap, but don't be stupid either, right? We want to make sure that we're stewarding our money wisely, like I said. Keep things flexible on a monthly basis. I mean, look at things on a month-to-month basis. Are we seeing positive results this month? Okay, well, fantastic. Let's maybe increase the budget marginally the next month and let's see what it returns you. Ultimately, the goal is to end up in a place where you can scale your budget. So if you know that $1,250 is going to yield you an additional 10 grand in business, well, and the statistics align for, let's say, 2 or 3 months, well, it stands to reason that if you double your budget, you'll double your revenue. And if you don't double your revenue, what is the factor by which you are increasing your revenue? Okay, well, that starts to become your scale pattern. You always have to look for those numbers, always have to look for those patterns. Okay, fantastic. Well, let's move on to secret number 4. So, secret number 4 is over-engineering almost never works when you're trying to build a profitable marketing strategy for 2023. One of the things that most businesses do when they're looking to kickstart or enhance their marketing is that they over-engineer, they over-design, they over-obsess. This happens across the board with things, right? This is a human instinct, right? So let's consider this from a fitness perspective. On January 1st of every year, a lot of people, go back to the gym, even though they haven't been in months, and they're gonna go hard, like really hard. Almost like you're trying to will the muscle to come back and the fat to go away, right? The next day, they're gonna be sore, right? They may or may not go back to the gym because they may be too sore, but you know what? They might get a quick workout in, right? They're gonna go back for a little bit. Following day, they're gonna feel way worse. It's called delayed onset muscle soreness. Look it up, it's a thing. That's why the second day you feel so much sore, but you're not gonna go to the gym that second day because you're way too sore. You went too hard 2 days before and you can't even move. Day 4, you're literally negotiating with yourself on the couch about how you can maybe start on February 1st, or maybe this isn't your year, or whatever it is, right? It's the same thing with marketing, right? If you go too hard too quickly, you stand to burn yourself out, right? So consider your goals, stick to a plan, stay flexible, but stick to a plan and get it done in a minimally viable way. What is the quickest way we can do this? So we had this was one of my first projects years and years and years ago. I had a client, really, really great people. They had an online leadership course, and they wanted a webinar funnel for it, right? And so my team built, like the Rolls Royce, just like the Rolls Royce of funnels, with not just A/B testing, but A, B, C, D testing. So basically, anybody that kind of came into the funnel, they would get randomly routed to one of the 4 different webinars. So we recorded 4 different webinars, 4 completely different developed pathways. And ultimately, the idea was we were going to see which one converts the best and this and that. And man, it was a very complex marketing tool. And man, what we found once we actually launched it was about 95% of it was completely unnecessary. About 5% of it was what was actually making the pathway through, actually getting the results. 95% of it completely, I don't want to say wasted energy, but kind of wasted energy. And it really, that really opened my eyes to this idea of, okay, well, if I could literally get away with boom, 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 this just really, really simple, why would I do all the other things? But it's so funny because we're conditioned. Our human nature is, no, that doesn't seem like it's enough. We need to put more into it. We need more colors and lights and flashing. But at the end of the day, what works? What's the shortest distance between where you are now and where you want to be, right? And in that case, we did not need 95% of what we developed. These are the things that I want to make sure that you don't end up doing, right? I'm a big fan of anything minimally viable. The MVP, minimally viable product model, is a tried and true model that allows you to build upon, right? So you start simple and then you add in step by step based on what the results are telling you to do. So if you start simple and you start getting results and feedback, based on what that feedback is, you add on. But if you create the whole complex machine before you even have a single user, lead, purchaser, whatever, come through it, how do you know what to build? How do you know what all people are gonna react to? So you really have to start minimally viable. Don't over-engineer, don't over-obsess, keep it simple, stupid. Okay, moving on to number 5. Secret number 5, to build a profitable marketing strategy for 2023. If you've already got customers, you don't have to look far. So this is for you veteran business owners. Do you know the lifetime value of your customers? If you don't, you should. So make sure you kind of look into that. But at the end of the day, your customers are your greatest revenue generating asset. Obviously, right? They're your customers. They are what's actually producing revenue, but they are also your greatest new revenue generation asset, right? A lot of times we look to, we want to bring in cold traffic. And yes, ultimately we do need to have that pipeline consistently going, because once you've sort of squeezed your current customer base, that's it. We need to make sure we have a new pipeline, but you have to be looking at your current customer base for increasing their lifetime value, right? So if there are current upsell opportunities and current products that they're not purchasing within your product line, but they've purchased from you before, well, there's all that opportunity. For other business owners that maybe don't have those upsell opportunities, what are upsell opportunities? What are different things that you can sell your clients that make a whole lot of sense? So let's say you're an e-commerce store and you're selling dog beds, right? I've sold dog beds and it works swimmingly, right? So when we sold dog beds, we looked at it and said, okay, well, if people are buying these nurturing dog beds, what else would they also buy? Well, they would buy blankets. They would buy spray so that the bed doesn't smell bad because, with the dog laying in it. They would buy maybe CBD chews, things of that nature, right? You kind of think like, all right, if I'm that customer and they bought this from me, what else would they buy based on their purchase history? So it's so much easier to increase revenue through your warm audience that you already own, that already loves you and your product. It's so much easier to do that than it is to drive cold customers that you kind of have to work to convince, and ultimately you're paying out for that, right? In marketing dollars. So we have a client that owns a hormone therapy clinic, and they primarily sell testosterone replacement therapy, but they also have a range of other services like peptides, immunity boosters, IV treatment, things of that nature. And my client's always asking me, Joe, how can I get more customers through the door? How can I get more people in? Now, what I recently consulted him on was increasing the lifetime value of his current customer base. Now, your customers need to be aware of what you have to offer, even if it goes above and beyond what it is they came to you for in the first place. So in this example, most of his clients are coming through for testosterone replacement therapy. Most, right? And so they're coming in for TRT and they're leaving with TRT, right? And the current lifetime value for those customers is about, in this case, about $5,500, and that spans over 3 years, right? So the customer, like I said, generally exclusively getting testosterone, no other treatments that are available. And then they're dropping off after about 3 years because either they've lost interest, they've changed locations, like gone to a competitor, or they just decided to cycle off. What's amazing about this clinic that is different than many other competitors is that they actually administer their shots on location. So a lot of hormone therapy clinics, they'll send you home with your needles and your vials. These guys will actually do it for you, which, yeah, I don't want to shoot myself, right? So, so it's a really, really unique value proposition that they have just from there. But what's even better than the fact that that's a great value proposition is that their customers, different from their competition, are literally coming into their clinic on a weekly basis and literally having FaceTime with the nurses, who should be salespeople, who should be upselling those clients, those customers, onto all of the other amazing services they have to offer. Imagine if those nurses actually took the time to get to know what other issues their customers were dealing with. Oh, you're struggling with recovery? Well, have you tried peptides? I can set you up with this course, blah, 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 right? So you have to look at things like that. Sometimes it's right in front of your nose. What are some examples of low-hanging fruit in your business that customers don't even know about or haven't truly ever been offered, right? You have to kind of consider those things. And listen, don't be shy. A lot of people are like, oh, well, I don't want to like hard sell people and all this stuff I have to offer, blah, 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 blah. Hey, don't be shy. That's ridiculous. You have a solution for their problem. They have a need that needs to be fulfilled. You're doing them a disservice by not helping them fulfill it. So consider that. All right, moving right along. Let's move on to number 6. To build a profitable marketing strategy in 2023, your strategy must be unified. Most business owners, literally the majority, get this wrong. What they do is they sort of they have like this fractured response to their marketing. They bring an individual specialist to take care of individual marketing tasks that they think are the most important. For example, you might be looking to bring on somebody to manage your Facebook, right? So you bring your Facebook guy. Then separately, you want somebody to do your Google pay-per-click. So you contact a pay-per-click specialist or SEO, right? And then you bring in a guy to do your website, right? But what is it that you're actually giving them to operate on together, right? Even if they ask you real questions and do real targeting work for you, how does what the web guy is doing latch on to what the Facebook guy is doing, what the PPC guy is doing, right? At the end of the day, for example, your messaging needs to be congruent through all of it. My guess is that your Facebook guy is not going to be talking to your website guy, and they're not going to be talking to the PPC guy. And so who's leading the charge at this point? There has to be a unifying factor. Otherwise, you're going to have this fragmented marketing effort. And you're probably going to lose a lot of money in the process. You're going to kind of half start a lot of things and then realize that it didn't get you anywhere. We had a lead approach us a little while back, and he was super frustrated that his website looked terrible. He wasn't getting any engagement out of his social media. His SEO was a mess. It was just a total mess. But for us, viewing it was super clear why. You see, the message that he was putting out on social media versus the message he was putting out on his website versus the message he was putting out in store was completely incongruent. They didn't match up. They were different things. And then, to boot, he had an SEO guy that he was paying. But little did he know that his web guy was also messing around with SEO. So the logo was even different between his social and his web. It was just a mess. And so you've got these conflicting efforts and you're paying out the wazoo for all of them. And now this left this guy completely frustrated and clueless at the same time. It's like, man, just a really, really tough kind of situation. And it's all because nothing was unified. Your marketing strategy has to be unified across the board. It has to be consistent. And in order to do that, there has to be some kind of a quarterback. There has to be something central that all of your specialists are working toward or for. It could be a codified strategy with explicit instructions, like a guide, or a branding guide is always helpful. Or it could be an individual, like a chief marketing officer or a strategist, which I always recommend. When everything is all over the place, you're never going to get where you want to be. You're always going to be just spending your money, pissing it away. And it's, again, going back to secret number one, tracking is a nightmare. What's coming from where? And then in cases like this guy where he literally had 2 different SEO strategies being implemented at the same time, well, of course you're not getting the organic results that you're looking for, right? Everything, it's just a big mess. My grandmother used to call it a gadablasma. Just an absolute mess. And at the end of the day, to resolve that, the best thing to do is to bring in someone to do that. If you're not gonna do it, if you're not gonna be able to be that quarterback, and unless you're a latent marketing expert, I don't know how much I would recommend you doing that. You need to bring in someone like a strategist or a chief marketing officer or someone that can be the point person for all of this, that's delivering the strategy and ultimately getting your specialists all in to be doing the same thing. Russell Brunson, who I really respect, he talks about the importance of knowing the difference between the who and the how. Meaning you have to evaluate any of the tasks on hand to understand if your time is best spent or your money is best spent. And for most business owners, as it relates to marketing, your money is best spent. It's better spent than your time. Again, unless you're a marketing expert. And so that's that kind of wraps that up. But at the end of the day, unified, right? We need to make sure that everything is working towards the same goal. It's all congruent and it's all led by a point person. All right, so the final secret, the 7th secret to building a profitable marketing strategy for 2023 is you have to answer this one simple question. What's the question? Well, to be honest with you, it's going to sound insultingly simple. But I strongly, I mean, you've been with me this far, right? I strongly encourage you not to overlook it. It's simple but poignant. And this question is what is going to make or break your marketing effort, the answer to this question. You can put in all the effort, time, and dollars in, but if you don't have the right answer to this question, you will ultimately fail. You ready? It's a fill in the blank question. Our customers should buy from us rather than our competition Because that's it. It's that simple question. That simple question has stumped some of the biggest marketing execs on Madison Ave and Wall Street and just these massive companies, because what happens is everybody has their different idea. Well, of course, I mean, our customers know. Our customers know why we're better than the competition. Or, oh yeah, our team even knows. But what's super funny is that a lot of times teams don't know. There's been a couple experiments done where they'll put all the executives in a room and they'll ask them this question and everybody gives a different answer. If your executive team is giving a different answer to this question, if they're all giving different answers to this question, you're screwed. And you need to do some major rehabbing. Now, I can't take credit for the simplicity of this question. It actually comes from one of our incredibly talented strategists, Professor Ian Morrison. He's not really a professor, but we lovingly refer to him that way because he's a genius. He's the kind of guy that takes things, takes complicated matters and simplifies them, distills them down to simple questions like this that stump even the greatest of minds. This is an endemic problem across businesses of all size. It's this inability to be able to express a basic stance of your brand, a basic positioning. And going back to the last secret about unified marketing, this is the root of disunity. Now, if you were able to answer that question, and I mean truly answer, not just like half laugh, like, because X, Y, Z. Truly answer it. And then, if you were to take that answer and position all of your marketing vehicles accordingly in a way that effectively communicates it, you will not fail. You won't. It's as simple as that. That's what it all boils down to. That's what marketing is. The goal is driving revenue, but it starts with being able to communicate why your customer should buy from you rather than the competition. Now listen, these 7 secrets, they're simple, right? And this is not necessarily a comprehensive list, but it is a list that is built to really make you think about the things you did in 2022. How could driving revenue in 2023 look different for you if you apply even 1 or 2 of these simple principles? A lot of times it's the simple things that we think, oh yeah, I know I got to do that, but then you never do. But if you actually did those things, if you actually pushed forward with those things, imagine where that could lead you. Imagine if you went to the gym every day, even for 20 minutes, every day. What would that do for your body? It's the same thing here, right? If you were to implement even 1 or 2 of these simple secrets here, it's all about changing your perspective. That's what this whole conversation is between you and I is about. It's all about changing your perspective, looking for obvious opportunities that you didn't see before, and ultimately finding that shortest distance between where you are now and where you want to go. Now, as promised, I want to tell you where it is or how it is that you can go ahead and acquire your free book, $100 Million Offers by Alex Hormozi. But before I do that, I want to invite you to a free conversation with me. I want to talk with you. I want to kind of hear about what your needs are, what it is that you're looking for your business, why it is that you're marketing, what you've done before, and how you plan to move the ball down the field in 2023. I want to know. I want to understand where you're at, and I want to help you. Right? This is what you're going to sign up for if you choose to. It's a free 15-minute call. It's a free 15-minute consultation because I just want to get to know you. I want to kind of understand where you're at. And then if we feel like there's a fit here, I would love to serve you. I would love to serve you as a strategist, as a consultant for you, because at the end of the day, like I said, marketing is about driving revenue. It's about getting from where you are now to where you need to be in the shortest possible way. That's my specialty. That's what I do, right? Like I said in the beginning, I'm all about making marketing honest. I want to make it make sense again, because if marketing can make sense again, if it can be honest again, it can be profitable again, right? And that's really what we're looking for here, right? So I encourage you to click the link below, book a free session with me, and I'm looking forward to kind of hearing from you there. So as far as the book goes, all you need to do for the book is you need to send an email to Keeley, Keeley, at jmichaelstrategies.com. Okay, and in that email, you're going to put your address, where the book needs to be sent, and you're going to put at least 3 or 4 sentences describing what you thought about this web class. Tell me what you learned. Tell me what you didn't learn. Tell me what you enjoyed. Tell me what you thought was crap. I would imagine that if you're here all this way through, you enjoyed it to one degree or another, but I want both positive and negative feedback if you've got it. So listen, like I said at the beginning, I know there's a limited number of minutes in the day. And I'm grateful that you've spent the last 30-ish with me, right? I want to see you succeed. I want to see your business succeed. And man, I want to see marketing make sense for you again. So I'm looking forward to talking with you.